Alright everyone, welcome back to another GeoGuessr video here on the channel. We are covering Group C and D today for the World Cup predictions. I know yesterday's video was about 20 minutes, so we're going to try to keep it around 20 to 25 for C and D, but I really want to go in depth on all the matchups in the group and how I think it'll play out, because the groups are really crucial to get, a first round bye in the knockout round as well to get first. So I think this should be interesting. And yeah, we're kind of going to be making predictions on the fly here, riding by the seat of our pants, but we'll see how it goes. All right, Group C, I think is quite interesting, but I do think that Radu C has the best chance. And I mean, Radu C, good mover, good no move, and he's pretty damn good at NMPZ. So it's really hard to rule him out and not have him on the top of this group. And I think he probably wins this game versus Armani here 2-0. Now, Kirania versus Spaghetti is quite interesting. I think Spaghetti definitely a better mover than Kirania. Kirania is not really known for his moving. He's more of an NMPZ player, probably no move player as well. But I think if Spaghetti does take that moving, I think Kirania can take the next NM and NMPZ and lock in for a win there. All right, Jake Lines versus Kratsu. I think they're both pretty equivalent in terms of moving. Like, Kratsu is a really good moving player as well. Like, we saw that he beat Blinky in quarters in the EMEA regionals. And yeah, I think he can definitely stand up to the best moving players in the tournament. And with that being said, I think Kratsu can definitely take this win over Jake Lyons in a 2-0 fashion, because I do think he's slightly better as a no-move player as well compared to Jake Lyons. All right, Radu C versus Kratsu. This can be interesting because I think it's going to be a really good moving game. We've kind of got a good handful of movers in here. Aside from Kirania and Armani, I think the other four are pretty solid in terms of their moving prowess. But yeah, no surprise, I'm picking Radu C to win this one. And whether he does it in a 2-0 or 2-1 fashion, I think for this one, I'm going to predict a 2-1 because I think Kratsu can steal a game off of him in either moving or no move. All right, Kirania versus Armani. Should be interesting. I think they both have similar skill sets in terms of they're not really moving players. I know Armani's more of an NMPZ player, and I think Kirania is as well, but I think he's a little bit more balancing in terms of no move in NMPZ, whereas Armani is a bit more heavy to NMPZ than any other mode. But I do think if it does get to NMPZ, Armani can win, and it should be interesting to watch this matchup play out because they kind of complement each other in terms of their skill set. But yeah, I'm going to take Armani to win in a very close matchup, 2-1. All right, Spaghetti versus Jake Lyons here. Should be an interesting one. I think Jake can take the dub here, to be honest. I think he's a better moving player than Spaghetti overall, and I think his no-move or NMPZ game might be somewhat equivalent to Spaghetti. I know Spaghetti's relatively newer to the game. Jake's been playing forever, man. And, I think Jake can take this dub over Spaghetti, and we'll take him 2-0. All right, Radu C versus Jake Lyons. I would say Jake's probably the better moving player here, but it's not by much, in my opinion. And I think Radu can get a 2-0 here, but I think if it does go to NMPZ, I would give Radu a significant edge over Jake in the NMPZ game. So I'm going to say Jake sneaks out the moving, but Radu wins both the NM and NMPZ portions of the matchup. All right, Armani versus Spaghetti. Two kind of like different players, I think, because I think Spaghetti has said that his worst mode is probably NMPZ, whereas Armani has said that his worst mode is moving. So it's like, and Spaghetti's best mode is moving, and Armani's probably worst mode, or Armani's probably best mode is NMPZ. So you see the contrast there in terms of the player style. That being said, I do think Armani can win against Spaghetti. Even if he does drop that moving game, I think he has enough skill in both NM and NMPZ to take the win. So I'm going to take him 2-1 here. And then moving into Kratsu versus Kirania. This is an interesting one because, like we said, Kratsu is a very good mover. But there is RNG sometimes in terms of like how it goes in terms of moving. And I do think Kirania is probably, in my mind, a slightly better no-move player than Kratsu. So I'm probably going to take Kirania 2-0, maybe a 2-1, because if it does get to NMPZ, I think Kirania is much stronger of a player on NMPZ than Kratsu is. So I will take Kirania there, and we'll take him 2-1, because I think Kratsu can win the moving or no move game. All right, Spaghetti versus Kratsu. Little interesting. I think Kratsu probably has the edge on him in moving, and I think Kratsu probably has the edge in no move, although it is a little bit close. So I'm going to take Kratsu here, 2-0 against Spaghetti. And yeah, we'll move on to the next one. Radusi versus Kirania. These are two players that I think could be contending for top of the group, but I think Radusi in this group is just a step above everyone, in my opinion. And I'm going to take Radusi in a 2-0 fashion just because I think he can win in moving. And then when it comes to that no move, I think he's a little bit stronger than Kirania as well. I think he's stronger in moving and no move in that situation. All right, Armani versus Jake Lyons. I know Armani is not the best mover, and Jake Lyons is probably one of the best movers in the group. But I do think Armani can get there in no move and NMPZ to take it, and we'll take him in a 2-1 fashion. So that's going to put Armani on 3 wins right now, and we got Radusi currently on 4. So we'll move into round 5 here of Group C, and we'll see how it plays out moving forward. All right, Kirania versus Jake Lyons. Interesting game. I think Kirania probably takes this one down. And I just think Kirania, he's a very good player, and he's going to take it 2-1. Now, we move into Armani versus Kratsu. It's really tough for me to determine if I want to move Kratsu on, or if I want to move Armani on, or how this is all going to work out. Because, man, I really do think that Kirania, I don't know, it's really close for me. Like, I think I'm having doubts in here. So, I don't know. I think I'm going to take Kratsu here because he's a strong player. He's a very strong player, and we'll take him 2-1. I think I changed my mind. I changed my mind. We're going to take Armani 2-1 in NMPZ because I think if it does get to NMPZ, I think Armani's just the better player. I don't really foresee him losing in NMPZ in that matchup specifically, so I will take Armani here. So that puts him on 4 wins. And then we'll take the Radusi clean sweep of the entire bracket, or of the entire group, rather. And we'll take him in a 2-1 fashion here. So that means our Group C standings are going to be Radusi, Armani in second, with our silver, and Kirania in third. So I think these 3 players move on. It's going to be a very tight group, in my opinion. But like, I do think that Armani has a good chance, especially if it does get to the NMPZ game. So I'm going to leave it at that. You guys might disagree, but we'll see. Moving into it, we'll see how it goes. All right, Group D here. This is also a very, very hard group to predict, in my opinion. I think, me personally, out of the 6, I have a specific winner that I want to take, and that'll be revealed as we move forward. But to start off, MK versus Eamon. I think we're going to take MK here 2-1. I think Eamon can steal a moving/NM game, but I think MK prevails in the end in NMPZ. Kodiak versus Jinji. This is quite interesting because I think Kodiak's a very good moving player compared to Jinji, who's not really known as much as a moving player. And I think Kodiak can actually get the dub here. So I'm going to take Kodiak here over Jinji 2-0. And I think he takes that no-move game. Kodiak has that experience on the stage. I think he can perform. And hopefully, my prediction holds true in this sense. Mata versus Foul. Man, these are probably the 2 players that I know the least about. I mean, Foul, if you asked me prior to America's regionals, I would have been like, yeah, I mean, that guy, he's looking really good. I don't know if he's been playing recently. I haven't really seen him at all, really. And then Mata, he's still a relatively unknown player to me. I know he's hanging out in the Italian community, but I don't really know him too well as a player. That being said, I do think Foul is quite a good player, and he's going to take it in a 2-1 or 2-0 fashion for me. All right, MK versus Foul. taking MK here to win, and I think he can do a 2-1 once again. All right, we move into Gingy versus Eamon. So Eamon probably has the edge in moving here. I think Eamon and Gingy are quite evenly matched no move, and then Gingy probably has the slight edge NMPZ. But I'm going to take Eamon here to beat Gingy 2-0. And we move into Kodiak versus Mata. So Kodiak versus Mata, quite interesting. I think Mata showed some moving skill, man. He showed some moving skill in EMEA. And like, I would not be surprised if he was able to contest Kodiak. Just because I know Kodiak hasn't really been playing recently. He's been on holiday for like the past 6 months, basically. Every time I see that guy, or every time I chat with that guy, or every time I see him in like a Discord chat, bro's always on holiday. It's crazy. But shout out Kodiak. All right. So for this one, I think I'm going to take Mata here with a little, some would say upset, but I'll just call it how it is. And we'll take a 2-1 for Mata there. Mata versus MK. I think MK wins this. He's probably worse in no moving, but I could see him getting a win overall. And we'll just take him 2-0. Because he can't 2-1 everything, man. It can't get to NMPZ, and he's just going to 2-1 everything. All right. Eamon versus Kodiak here. Very interesting. I think they have similar skill sets. I could see it going either way, really. Like, I think Kodiak has a good shot here, and I think I'm going to take him 2-1 to win that NMPZ game against Eamon. But they definitely do have similar skill sets, and I can see either of them 2-0ing, really. Just comes down to my prediction here. All right. Fao versus Gingy. I think, man, picking Gingy to go last is just does not feel good. And I don't really want to pick that, I think. I know I have him losing the first 2 games here, but I think Gingy can take a W over Fao just because Fao's been out of the game for so long. And we'll take Gingy 2-1. Alrighty. Kodiak versus Fao. Man, these are 2 guys that obviously competed in the last World Cup, but don't know how much they've been playing recently. And like, that's the one thing that's holding me back from this like definitively picking one of the 2 in this. So for this, I think, man, it's hard, but I think I'm going to take Fao here in a slight, very close battle, 2-1. All right, Gingy versus MK. I think MK takes this. I honestly don't think he's that bad at moving, to be honest. And like, sometimes his insta-send stuff will end up working out. And I think he's just a solid player overall. We'll take him 2-0 here against Gingy. All right, Eamon versus Mata. Quite interesting one. I think Mata takes this win over Eamon, and he'll do so in a 2-0 fashion. Don't really need to go into too much analysis there. I just think Mata showed his moving chops in the EMEAs, and I think he can take that dub. All right, Gingy versus Mata here. So I think Gingy probably gets this win, just because I do think it's going to come down to an NMPZ, and I think Gingy's just a better NMPZ player, that he does get the dub here. So that's going to put 2 wins for him on the board. And Fao versus Eamon. Man, it's very closely contested here. And wow, this is quite tough. I do think that Fao is a slightly better player overall than Eamon is, but Eamon is really no slouch. But I will take Fao here 2-1. And then we have MK versus Kodiak here. I think Kodiak can win this, realistically. But I'm going to take Kodiak here to win. And we'll take him over MK in a 2-0, because it's going to have to be a 2-0, I think. IMO. So, for me, a little bit of a shakeup. Should be interesting. We'll see how this ends up biting me in the butt. But we've got Kodiak going second here, if my calculations are correct, and Fao going third. So MK, Kodiak, Fao for Group D, first, second, third, and then first, second, third in Group C, we got Radu C, Armani, and then Kirania. So those are my predictions for groups, and then we'll slot them into the bracket and I'll be back with the bracket here. All right, we are back with the bracket. I've got it sorted out. Um, so we'll start off in the top left here. We got Crooks versus Consis in this little game here in what I believe is the quarters. Group of 16, I guess, technically, because this is the quarters. Anyway, Crooks versus Consis. Could be interesting, I think. And like I said, Crooks is my dark horse pick for the tournament. And I think Crooks, this is going to be a best of 5, obviously. I think Crooks, man, that guy's insane at no move, and I think he can steal a moving game. So to win this might be a surprise, but I'm going to have the reigning champ go down. Crooks in a 3-1 fashion there versus Consis. Alrighty. Now, we'll move here. Bottom left, Kodiak versus Kirania. I think Kirania is going to be able to get the dub here because Kodiak, a very good moving player, but I think Kirania is not as bad as in moving as people think. I mean, maybe in APAC, it was a little bit weaker competition in terms of moving overall, and that's probably why he looked good compared to the field, but I do think he can steal a game there, and I think it's going to go 3-1 Kirania. So, we've got Crooks versus Blinky in this top left quarterfinal. RC versus Kirania in this bottom left quarterfinal. Let's find out who's going to be meeting Bag in the top right here. Finbar versus Debre. So, for this one, I think Finbar has a very good chance. And this is actually a rematch of the, if it plays out this way, of the very controversial match that we had in EMEA, in which there was a little bug going on with Debre's screen and made him take a very long walk from the studio back to his accommodation. So hopefully that doesn't happen again. Hopefully we get a nice clean game here. And I think Finbar takes it 3-1 as well. I've predicted it 3-3-1s. Moving into this one, Armani versus Fao. I think Armani has the edge here. And especially in NMPZ, I think if it does get there for Game 5, I think Armani takes it 3-2. I think they are, like, Fao's probably a better moving player, but I think Armani is quite good at no move himself. And maybe he can steal a game in moving. Maybe Fao steals a game in no move, and it's just going to go to Game 5, and Armani's going to take it 3-2. Alrighty, moving back to top left here. For the quarters, we've got Crooks versus Blinky. Very interesting matchup. I think this is going to be quite close, but I think Blinky's going to be a man on a mission here, and I think I have Blinky winning 3-1 over Crooks. Alrighty, RC versus Kirania here. Interesting one. Should be quite an entertaining matchup. Let me move my cam actually, so we can so you guys can see bottom right. I just realized Fao was not in the picture there, but it's fine. You guys know that was Fao there, based off of my predictions in groups. All right, RC versus Kirania here. Interesting, very interesting matchup. I think RC holds the edge for me, and I think RC takes it down, and RC is going to take it home. Do I want to go 3-0? Potentially, I kind of do. I think I'm going to take my first 3-0 of the knockout stage, and we'll take RC 3-0 there over Kirania. Stage experience as well in the past World Cup, and I think he's just a force to be reckoned with right now. Now, Finbar versus Bag is interesting. Did not think it was going to come to this, because these are two of people that I feel like I'm pretty close to, I guess, in the tournament, in the knockout stage. And I do think that Bag might have a slight edge here if it does get to NMBZ. And I think it's going to be a closely contested match, because I think Bag is no pushover in moving as well. I'm going to take Bag 3-2, because I could see Finbar sneaking out a little NM game, and Bag sneaking out a little moving game. But who knows? I think it's going to go 3-2 there. All right, MK versus Armani. I think MK is going to take this one in a 3-1 fashion. I think they're both not the best moving players overall, but I know MK's been practicing his moving with RC to leak a little tidbit of information for you guys. I think MK can take this 3-1. I just think he's a better moving player and, like, I would say slightly better no-move player than Armani. So I'm going to take MK here with a 3-1. Alrighty, moving into semifinals here, we got Blinky versus RC, absolute juggernaut matchup here. Man, this one's really hard to predict. So I'm going to leave you guys on this, and I'm going to move to the right side, in which we have Bag and MK, the matchup that we thought was going to be the finals of Wildcard 3. So I think this is quite interesting. It depends how comfortable Bag looks on the big stage. I know MK, that guy probably doesn't feel any nerves. Like, he performed really well in Wildcard 3. It's hard to say, but, oh man, it's going to be really close. But I think it comes down to Bag, and we'll put Bag in there. I gotta have faith, and we'll take him 3-1. He's a better mover, in my opinion, and think, you know, he can get a no-move game off of MK as well. They're pretty evenly matched there. All right, Blinky versus RC, man. This really should be the final, but if it works out the way in which Group C first place and Group A first place play each other in the semis, so be it, and these two actually do get first, respectively, in their groups. So, man, it's really hard, but I think we are going to see an RC in the final here. And it's going to go to a Game 5, guys. We'll take him 3-2. Winning that NMPZ game over Blinky to get to the final. Going to be very stressful. So, bit of an unorthodox matchup here. I doubt anyone's picking this. Really? But it is my prediction, so I can do whatever I want with it. RC versus Bag in the final. And I think Radusi prevails. He's our winner. He is our champion. And what's the scoreline that I think he's going to do it in? Well, let's see. I think RC is slightly better in moving than Bag is, but Bag is no slouch in moving, man. He's pretty solid in all three modes. They're no move. I would give a slight edge to RC, and then NMPZ, I think Bag maybe a tad better, but I don't think it's going to get to NMPZ, guys, because I think RC is going to take it 3-1. So RC 3-1 in the finals is my prediction against Bad at GeoGuessr there. These are obviously my predictions, guys. Don't take too much grain of salt into it. I would love to see the comments that are like, never predict again, blah, blah, blah. Those are my favorites. I really love those. Anyway, those are my predictions, guys. RC winning 3-1 in your GeoGuessr 2024 World Cup. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And leave your thoughts down below of who you think is going to win, because I would really like to hear from all of you. Hope you guys enjoyed. See you guys tomorrow for another GeoGuessr video. Peace.